Windsor Hill is situated in the northwest of England on the outskirts of Bolton. With an elevation of 1,496 feet, it's become a hotspot for walkers and cyclists to experience the picturesque views of Bolton and Manchester. Despite the picturesque views that the hill offers to the majority of its visitors, there is a darker side to the hill, one that many are unaware of, from air disasters to murders. On the 27th of February 1958, the worst high-ground air crash in the United Kingdom took place on the hill's northernmost point. The day began like any other winter day in 1958. The weather that day predicted snow showers throughout the day, with visibility at the peak of the hill hindered. Below the hill, in the town of Bolton, the day was going on like normal for the citizens going about their daily life. Unaware to the majority of the citizens that day, a charter plane was setting off from the Isle of Man, with its intended destination being Manchester Airport, a mere 34.1 kilometres from Windsor Hill. The charter plane was full of passengers heading to Manchester to visit the Exide Battery Factory and Manchester Car Show to conduct motor trade business. The pilot was ordered to maintain an altitude of 1,500 feet instead of the standard issued altitude of 3,500 feet. The plane crashed close to the television mast, instantly killing 34 passengers, with another later dying in hospital. The rescue of the remaining passengers and crew was delayed and took place after a survivor had managed to alert those at the television mast who were unaware that such a tragic event had taken place due to the low visibility and worsening weather conditions. 63 years later, there's still remnants of the crash left on Windsor Hill to serve as a memorial and a reminder of the tragic events that happened in the past. A memorial plaque was placed just north of the area, dedicated to those who lost their lives. On Thursday the 28th of June 2018, a fire broke out close to the transmitting tower. Initially the fire was isolated to one area, but due to the heatwave the UK was experiencing and the high winds upon the peak, the fire quickly spread over a 7-mile radius, consuming everything in its path. The next day, while firefighters were dealing with the fire upon the peak, several other small fires were started down below. Those fires quickly spread and soon merged with the fire on the top of the peak. Despite great efforts by firefighters and United Utilities to stop the fires from merging, the combination of high winds and the dry heat proved too powerful. Due to the severity of the fire, a major incident was declared, and the fire raged for over 41 days, with smoke pollution detected as far away as Blackpool. Those living in the village below the hill were told to be ready to evacuate and to keep windows and animals inside as the fire spread down to the main Belmont Road. During the next few days, the fire spread increasingly close by to the transmitting station, and for the first time in its history, radio stations nearby were left on high alert, ready for a loss of broadcasting in the area. Aerial footage showed the fire was eventually put out mere metres from the station, but still burned underground for days afterwards. Nearly 3 years later, the road to recovery is very much in full effect, with wildlife being reintroduced into the area and moss and moorland being brought in via helicopters. Officials have warned that it will take up to a decade before the surrounding area can return to its former picturesque surroundings. Windsor Hill has not only seen wildfires and plane crashes, but murders as well. The most famous murder taking place right next to where the television mast stands today. The person in question was a young Scotsman named George Henderson, travelling from Bolton to Blackburn. On the night of the 9th of November 1838, George left the village of Belmont when he was shot at close range in the head and left to die in a ditch. A young boy found George still alive and moaning hours after being shot. Unfortunately, although help was alerted, there was nothing to be done to save the life of George. A young man named James Whittle was shortly arrested and questioned on the death of George after being seen running around the moors with a gun in his hand. James denied all charges of being involved with George's death. Several witnesses came forward describing James as covered in blood and looking anxious upon returning home. The shooting was the first of its kind in the area and shook the town with fear. The truth to who shot George died with him that night and has never been unearthed. On the opposite road to the transmission mast lies a stump nicknamed the Scotsman Stump, in honour of George Henderson and his short-lived life in Bolton. Windsor Hill remains a great place for people to hike to its peak and a family day out. But what lies beneath the ground is a place full of secrets and history.